and that has an R18
Right.
classification, which is restricted 18, which means you can only buy that in a licensed sex shop.
Okay. Oh,
So
I didn't
that's it.
realise
So
that.
we sell the R18 product. Obviously, online is a different thing. There is no censorship online, and in fact, the companies like MindGeek who own Pornhub are supposed to monitor and moderate their content. And in fact, when that all came out about the uploaded product stuff that's on Pornhub. That's the revenge porn. Some of the revenge porn was getting uploaded and all that. So they supposed to have had these moderators in Pornhub, and they had. I think it was something like 30 people that worked at MindGeek that were moderating these thousands and thousands of uploads. They just couldn't do it. And in fact, it turned out that they were actually watching it without the sound on and on fast forward. So it was ridiculous.
What kind of a
So they're
job
supposed
would
to
that be?
moderate it, but they don't moderate it until someone flags it up that that person looks a little bit underage. And some people I hear in recovery, in meetings, whether it be a Cocaine Anonymous meeting or an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, that share. Everyone's journey is different, and we all get to a place of surrender, I guess, that we have a problem. Nowadays, obviously, you can see there is all these sober curious, sobriety now. I think the thing about it is you don't have to be an alcoholic or an addict to be clean and sober. Now people are using it as a lifestyle choice. It's
That's
much
true.
more of a cooler kind of thing to
It's quite
be.
rock and roll because it's alternative.
It's the new rock and roll.
Yeah, it is, isn't
getting
it?
in bed at 10 o'clock at night is the new rock and roll, even for quite young people. So for me, I didn't. My teenage years were I didn't drink or use any drugs. My drinking career started actually when I was in my early 20s. I drank moderately, Marcus. I wasn't one of those, I hear people share about, they had a bottle of cider when they were 12 years old in the local park and went into an immediate blackout. That wasn't my experience, My experience was I drank moderately in my early 20s when I was living in London. I was always a kind of person that was going out to clubs but I was very social. I was a very sociable drinker. So that was in my early 20s. And then what happened to me was in my mid-20s, I discovered cocaine. And, someone offered me, I was in Stringfellas at the time in the early 80s. Early 80s. And someone said, I've got some cocaine. I was like, okay, wow, what's that? And when I took that, I realised that, in fact, I could drink a lot more. And I used to stay up much longer, and normally, what I would do is I'd drink a couple of drinks, I'd get a bit drunk. I didn't really like being drunk, and I'd kind of stop. But obviously, I don't know whether you know or not, I'm sure you do, that